Training day on Outpost 7 was always difficult, but today promised to be especially brutal. Amara stood at attention in the long line of human conscripts, her back straight despite the ache in her muscles from yesterday's drills. The blue-tinged, alien sun beat down upon the training grounds, casting long shadows across the dusty parade square. Commander Torque strode before them, his forearms clasped behind his back, leathery skin rippling with each movement. The Draxian's yellow eyes swept over the line of humans with undisguised contempt. "Pathetic," he growled, his translator converting the guttural sounds into harsh English. 3 weeks of training and you humans still move like newborn calves. The Galactic Federation was mistaken to think your species worthy of conscription. Amara kept her gaze forward, focusing on a point in the distance. 6 months ago, Earth had joined the Federation after first contact, only to discover membership came with military obligations. Humans, being the newest species, received the most demanding assignments and the harshest trainers. "Today we test your combat reflexes," Torque announced. "Something your primitive species seems to lack." The training arena activated around them, holographic obstacles and targets materializing in complex patterns. Amara had studied the Draxian combat manuals every night, memorizing formations that the other human recruits ignored. "Begin," Torque barked. The conscripts scattered into the arena. Amara moved with precision, hitting her targets with practiced efficiency. From the corner of her eye, she could see Torque watching her, his upper lip curled in a sneer. As she completed the final sequence, ducking under a holographic beam and striking the target dead center, Torque approached. "You." His voice carried across the arena, drawing everyone's attention. "You think yourself clever, human?" Amara stood at attention. "No, Commander. Just following protocols as instructed." Torque circled her slowly. "I've watched you. You mimic our techniques, but you lack understanding. Your species cannot grasp the principles behind Draxian combat philosophy." "I believe I understand, Commander," Amara replied evenly. The silence that followed was dangerous. The other recruits backed away. "You understand nothing," Torque suddenly shouted, one of his forearms striking out and connecting with Amara's shoulder, sending her sprawling into the dust. The blow came without warning. Public humiliation, a common Draxian tactic to establish dominance. Around her, humans and aliens alike watched in tense silence. "Demonstrate your understanding, then," Torque challenged, stepping into the central combat ring. "Face me." Amara rose slowly, dust clinging to her uniform. Training matches against instructors weren't unusual, but they were rarely fair, and never requested after an instructor had already struck a trainee. This wasn't training. This was punishment for her perceived arrogance. Taking her position across from Torque in the ring, Amara centered herself. The commander outweighed her by at least 100 pounds, with twice the number of limbs and natural armor. "Begin!" called the automated system. Torque launched forward immediately, his forearms a blur of motion. Amara sidestepped, but his secondary arm caught her leg, sweeping her feet. She rolled with the momentum, creating distance. "As I thought." Torque laughed. "Humans rely on retreat." The gathered crowd grew larger as other training groups noticed the spectacle. Amara caught sight of Major Blake, the human liaison officer, watching with concern but unable to intervene in a sanctioned match. Torque attacked again, this time with a combination move designed to overwhelm. Amara recognized the pattern from her studies, the Draxian cross-strike, designed for overwhelming opponents with fewer limbs. Instead of attempting to block, Amara stepped directly into the attack. The crowd gasped. Torque's momentum carried him forward, but Amara had positioned herself perfectly in the one blind spot of the technique, the center point where all 4 arms crossed trajectories. She pivoted sharply, using Torque's own weight against him. It was a forbidden human technique she had integrated into the Draxian form, a judo throw modified for multi-limbed opponents. Torque, unprepared for this adaptation, found himself airborne momentarily before crashing hard onto his back. The arena fell. Silent Draxians were notoriously difficult to unbalance due to their low center of gravity, Yet Torque lay momentarily stunned in the dust. The fifth principle of Draxian combat, Amara said clearly, is adaptation of environment to complement natural advantages. Humans lack your strength and extra limbs, Commander, but we understand principles quite well. Torque rose, his eyes narrowed. A lucky maneuver. Then let me demonstrate another, Amara replied. For the next 5 minutes, Amara executed a perfect defensive strategy, using modified Draxian techniques interwoven with human martial arts. Where Draxian combat relied on overwhelming force, she used precision and timing. When Torque expected her to retreat, she advanced strategically. The final move came when Torque, frustrated by her evasions, committed fully to a pinning strike. Amara sidestepped, redirected his momentum, and applied pressure to a nerve cluster located just beneath the secondary arm joint, a vulnerability mentioned only once in an obscure anatomical text she had discovered in the archives. Torque dropped to one knee, his arms temporarily numbed. Match concluded, announced the automated system. Victory. Human conscript Amara. The silence that followed was profound. No human had ever defeated a Draxian instructor in open combat. Torque rose slowly, his yellow eyes fixed on Amara with an unreadable expression. Custom dictated his next move. He could either acknowledge defeat honorably or claim some violation of rules. To everyone's surprise, Torque lowered his head slightly, the Draxian gesture of respect. You did not simply memorize our techniques, he said. You improved them. Amara held her stance. Humanity doesn't just adapt to survive, Commander. We adapt to excel. Torque nodded once. Perhaps the Federation did not make a mistake after all. As Amara left the training grounds that day, she noticed the other alien instructors watching her with new interest. The human conscripts walked taller, with renewed confidence. One victory wouldn't change everything overnight, but it had opened a door. Sometimes respect had to be earned the hard way, especially among the stars.